2016 in the amount of $1,857,937.24.
Thank you. Do we have a second?
Second.
Any questions?
The only question I had, that, and just to be transparent here, there was one, and it'll come up later, utilities and contractual maintenance. There was a little difference that we had between north and west as far as electrical costs, but we actually determined that was due to a change in billing cycle. So that was reflected in their report.
Thank you. Any further questions? Hearing none, roll call, please.
Mr. Lucetti?
Aye.
Mr. Kozel?
Right.
Mr. Lullo?
Aye.
Mrs. Molinari?
Aye. Personnel report, Dr. Chamberlain.
I can refer you to personnel report. Resignations, Joseph Church, paraprofessional at East, requesting to resign effective April 29th. Pamela Lacken, cafeteria at East, requesting to resign this position effective June 1st, 2016. Sherry Bianchini, main office secretary at North, requesting to resign this position effective May 3rd. And Elizabeth Hunsaker, paraprofessional at East, requesting to resign from this position effective May 13th. I ask that you accept these resignations as presented.
Motion, please.
So moved.
Second.
Second.
Any discussion? All those in favor? Aye. Retirement.
Under retirement, Donald Brown, bus driver, Transportation Department, requesting to retire under the IMRF retirement system effective August 1, 2016. Janet Kreml, print room supervisor, West High School, requesting to retire under the IMRF retirement system effective May 26th. Carol Brennan, bus driver, Transportation Department, requesting to retire under the IMRF retirement system effective May 1st. And Patsy Frederickson, bus driver, Transportation Department, requesting to amend her retirement date under the IMRF retirement system to December 1st, 2016. We ask that you accept these retirements as presented.
Motion, please.
So moved.
Second.
Second.
Discussion. Roll call, please.
Mr. Kozel?
Aye.
Mr. Lullo?
Aye.
Mr. Lucetti?
Aye.
Mrs. Molinari?
Aye.
Under leave, Samantha Corzine, Special Services Instructor, West High School, requesting a 2-week FMLA at the conclusion of the maternity leave, returning for the 16-17 school year. Captain Quas, English Instructor, North High School, requesting a 12-week FMLA and a 2-week parental leave at the conclusion of her maternity leave, returning November 28th, 2016. And Laura Erlenbaugh, Special Services Department Chair, West High School, requesting an 8-week FMLA at the conclusion of her maternity leave, returning November 14th. I ask that you accept these leaves as presented.
Motion, please.
So moved.
Second.
Any discussion? Roll call, please.
Mr. Lullo?
Aye.
Mr. Lucetti?
Aye.
Mr. Kozel?
Aye.
Mrs. Molinari?
Aye. Next on the agenda is the Frankfurt Square Park District Intergovernmental Agreement.
Yes, we have an intergovernmental agreement proposal with the Frankfurt Square Park District for the use of the field house, outdoor athletic fields, tennis courts, and other indoor opportunities that mutually agreed upon, including but not limited to the fitness center, weight room, dance studio, wrestling gym, gymnasium, and the pole barn. We've worked with Jim Randall, Frankfurt Square Park District, to come together with this agreement. Also included in your supporting documents is the total of the north maintenance proposal, as well as some different variations of give backs in forms of the use of the dog training facility, in terms of use of the walking programs, and some remittance. So that would total roughly $115,467. Our estimates are that would cover our cost for the utilization of that part of the facility, allow it to be utilized, and the public to still be able to use that resource.
Okay, we have a motion on the table to accept the Frankfurt Square Park District Intergovernmental Agreement.
So moved.
Second.
Second.
Discussion.
So in the first section, this is the area where the field house and gymnasium are. There's use of classrooms, so is that in that same
It's in that same section. Once again, this would be mutually agreed upon. The wrestling room is in that hallway. The dance studio is also in that hallway. It would not be air conditioned during this time frame, but it would be in the same area. There would not be access to the academic portion of the building.
I did see the payment of $27,000 from the fan participants in athletic field usage is now part of the contract. How was that, in the past, how was that determined? Was it a variable amount or was it a set amount like this?
That would be a variable amount. There would be a quarterly remittance based upon usage. And we would utilize that remittance to continue to maintain, upkeep equipment in those areas. But it was never explicitly in the contract as it is now.
Any additional questions? Sorry.
So in the costs to keep the Frankfurt Square Park District uses this, there's no additional custodial cost. Now I do see in here where Park District will be paying those costs, but do we have to provide a custodian when they have activities, and are they aware of that?
We will have a custodian assigned to the building, whether we will have a maintenance personnel in the building, whether they're utilizing the space or not. In terms of the upkeep of the bathroom facilities, they're going to maintain those areas. So like, we would not utilize GCA cleaning for any of the facilities in that area.
Do they have all the required insurance?
Yes, they do. Yes.
Any additional questions? Roll call, please.
Mr. Lulo?
Aye.
Mr. Lucetti?
Aye.
Mr. Kozel?
Aye.
Mrs. Molinari?
Aye. Moving on to a bid approval for the landscaping services for schools.
Our contract with the Berkeley Group expires this month, and so for last month, Mr. Wilkie and I have conducted a formal bid. A formal bid would be a legal ad in the paper notifying the public that there is a bid specifications available at the district office, and then we set a specified date and time where the sealed bids would be opened. And in this particular case, we did open the sealed bids, and many of the vendors that bid were witness to the bid opening. This was, plus I just want to clarify something. We've talked about bids and RFPs. I think the Building and Finance Committee, I said, well, with services, we generally conduct an RFP. Well, this is a service, but it fits better, in our opinion, it fitted better with a formal bid and lowest responsible bidder as compared to conducting an RFP. So this one, we set this up as to award it the lowest responsible bidder, and then also we said that we could award it per location, lowest responsible bidder per location. And as we go work through this, you see we're recommending we break it up into two vendors to save as much money as possible. So we had 5 bidders bid, and the low bidders were the Brickman Group. Oh, plus, I just want to say with the bid, 3 bidders were all in the general area. So that's an indicator to me that we're getting the market price for these services, in the sense that 3 were in the general vicinity per location. But the lowest bidder and I guess since you awarded, you approved the intergovernmental agreement, we bid all the schools, but we notified the bidders though that we were considering an intergovernmental agreement where the Park District would take the responsibility for landscaping the entire campus up north. And so by us recommending not to award, say Brickman was the lowest bidder for north, they're fully aware that if this intergovernmental agreement was passed, that they would be getting that business. And it's our understanding that the Park District will be contracting anyway with the Breaking Group, because they were the lowest bidder years ago when we bid out the contract for landscaping, and as you see, they're very competitive, very low again in this process. So we're recommending the Brickman Group to landscape east and west, and Berry Landscaping to for central and the transportation center. So it would be those that are summarized on this last page here, where the first year total with two companies each getting two locations, the first year total would be $124,155. Currently, we're landscaping half of north, the district is, 210, and the Park District is landscaping the other half. But our current cost is $193,372 for all our facilities and basically half of north. And if the school board awards a bid, our cost will go down approximately $70,000 next year to $124,155. Some of that savings is from Park District taking on additional responsibilities for landscaping north. But
So it's $40,000 less when you include the work that's being done by the.
Yeah,
So
40,000.
landscaping costs are going down 40,000, correct?
Landscaping's going down 40,000. So we really feel this is a very successful bid because one was competitive, 5 bidders, 3 all around the same price, and then also I determined if we're saving money and we're cutting costs, I included it into being a pretty successful bid. So make no reservations in our recommendation to award this contract, and it's a 3-year contract. Services like this, and you see with the 3-year contract, we pretty much locked in the price for 3 years, and there is no fuel escalation on this. So I think the 3-year structure is to our benefit as well, because we know our prices, we can budget it, and as you see, they pretty much locked. Brickman completely locked in their price for 3 years, and then Berry Landscaping had the same price for the first 2 years, and then just a nominal increase in year 3. So we had 2 potential recommended motions, depending on how the intergovernmental agreement went today, but we're recommending the motion option number 1
Okay.
for your approval tonight.
Okay, thank you. Option number 1, the recommended motion is to approve. The school board will award a 3-year landscaping services contract to both Brickman Group, who is going to do the landscaping services at East and West, and Berry Landscaping will be doing the landscaping services at Central and the Transportation Center as presented, without Lincoln Way North at a first-year cost of $124,155 and a 3-year cost of $373,401. May I have a motion, please?
So moved.
Second.
Second.
Discussion.
Have we had a relationship with Berry Landscaping before?
No, the question was that we had a relationship with Berry Landscaping before, and no, we have not. Mr. Wilkie checked references, and the references came out very strong.
Hey, is there a chance that the audience can ask a question?
Mr. Kozel?
Aye.
Mr. Lullo?
Aye.
Mr. Lucetti?
Aye.
Mrs. Molinari?
Aye. Out-of-state travel, please.
If I can refer you both to your backup material and 2 additional ones, 2 additional out-of-state travel taking places. First, Lincoln Way Central Boys Cross Country, John Taylor, July 25th, August 15th. Once again, running at the Indiana Dunes. This will be the conclusion of their camp. Cost of the students will be included in their camp fees, no cost to the district. Second, Lincoln Way West and East yearbook production. They would be traveling to St. Mary's College over June 23rd and 24th. No cost to the district. Each student would pay $150 for that workshop, the yearbook workshop. It's something we do every year. Lincoln Way Central Girls Cross Country, July 22nd and August 12th. Once again, Indiana Dunes, part of the camp fee, no cost to the district. Lincoln Way East, West, and Central, it would be the Voyager Wilderness Program. Betsy Vandenberg every year takes students on this trip to Ontario, Canada, with a number of other teachers. 16 total students would go this year. Once again, no cost to the district. Lincoln Way District 210 Marching Band. This would be November 5th, 2016 at Lucas Oil Stadium. That would be the Bands of America Super Regional. The cost of the student and the organization is to be determined. No cost to the district. And then on November 10th, 11th, and 12th, there would be no school. It would be the marching band again going to the Grand Nationals Bands of America at Lucas Oil Stadium. It's over the weekend of Veterans Day, so no school will be missed once again. No cost to the district. Mandarin Chinese Department is requesting to go on a field trip June 12th, 2017 through June 20th. That would be to China. That would be part of the Explorica company, which is typically the company that we use when our students do travel outside of the country. No cost to the district. That would be on a voluntary basis of which students would like to travel. And I would ask them to approve these out-of-state travels, provided the principals get the appropriate paperwork and supporting backup material.
Motion, please, to approve the out-of-state travel.
So moved.
Second.
Second.
Any questions or comments?
On the trip to China, is Explorica the same as EF Educational Tours? Because that's the information in here.
I believe it is the same, Chris. Explorica is the company, and so it is the same. This is the same background we get with every trip. So yes, they've just done our trips over spring break as well.
Motion and a second. Any further discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Finance and Building Advisory Committee members.
We have the names for board approval for our Finance and Building Advisory Committee. Names are Christopher Abrahamson, Representative Mokina 159. This is Denise Budney, LWEA. Dr. Kathy Casey, Board of Education. Dr. Mark Cohen, Principal of North. Mr. Joseph Kirking, LD 122. Mr. Stephen Langer, Interim Business Manager. Mr. David Larson, Mokina 159. Mr. Chris Luchetti, Board of Education. Mrs. Anne-Marie Mampy, Martino District 122. Dr. Sharon Mahalik, Principal at East. Mr. Mike Murphy, Representative LWEA. Mrs. Cammie Boiler, LWESP. Mrs. Catherine Basilicus Pleasant, Hickory Creek 157C. Dr. Steve Provis, Principal of Central. Mr. Jack Richard, Summit Hill 161. Mr. Norman Roney, Jr., Summit Hill 161. Dr. Monica Schmidt, Principal, Lincoln Way West. Dr. Scott Toomey, Superintendent, and Mr. Rich Wilkie, Director of Buildings and Grounds. I would ask you to accept these appointments to the Finance and Building Advisory Committee as presented.
Motion, please.
So moved.
Second.
Second.
Any discussion?
I would just note that we still do not have a representative. We're still working on getting a representative from the Manhattan School District.
Okay, thank you.
As well, Blair Way School District too. I know there's just a couple of comments in the district.
There has been no interest. Yes.
Roll call in a second. All those in favor?
Aye.
Student registration.
And so I'd like for the board tonight to discuss fees for the 16-17 school year. We've done a comparison with some high school districts in our surrounding area. As Tim had discussed, I don't know we're ready to commit to a full suite of PSAE and PSAT testing at this time. But obviously, discussion in terms of fee increases, we're all aware of our current financial situation. One of the things that I would recommend, if we decide to maintain our status quo, that we have a $250 fee total required fee as we did last year. If paid on or before June 15th, then a $275 fee if paid after June 15th. It's a little motivation for us to collect money in this fiscal year. If not, slight increase. There are other school districts on this sheet that follow that course of action. But certainly this is open to discussion amongst the board.
May I have a motion to approve the fees as presented?
So moved.
Second.
Discussion.
Scott, what do we get with the technology fees? What does that entail?
Technology fees goes into our technology budget, which pays for infrastructure improvements, pays for equipment. When it's broken down, it's not going to cover all those fees, but it certainly helps. It certainly helps there. As you see with some other school districts in our area, increased fees in that area as they're going to the Chromebooks or going to the one-to-one.
Scott, I do want to compliment you on the fact that with the competitive activities, I know a lot of the schools charge for those. And there's been a lot of discussion, but I know from our experience when we do charge for those, the amount of participation comes down and it closes some doors for some kids. And us structuring it like this, I think, gives them the most opportunities we can offer. Thank you.
Any further discussion? Roll call, please.
Mr. Lucetti?
Aye.
Mr. Kozol?
Right.
Mr. Lulo?
Aye.
Mrs. Molinari?
Aye. Handbook changes.
Second reading, Dr. Cohen's going to give us a highlight of a couple of the changes, and then we'll be able to answer any questions that you may have. Go ahead.
Good evening. You should have a packet that includes all the handbook changes as well as a Reader's Digest memo version of the changes in front. Really, there are three categories. The changes that are highlighted in yellow are a result of Senate Bill 100, which forbids school districts across the state of Illinois to have zero tolerance policies with regards to any of the potential discipline infractions. We do not generally have a zero tolerance policy. However, we do want to update some of our language to reflect the language of Senate Bill 100. Specifically, our EdOps program, when a student has trouble being successful in Lincoln Way, whether that is disciplinary or academic, we have the EdOps program as an option, and we included that in the language. Also, a second part of that same bill is a caveat that says that students may not be punished academically for missing time due to suspension, so that is also clarified. Changes in green are regarding technology. We had a policy we had a section in our handbook for cell phones. We had a section for electronic devices, computers. We had a section for radios. Those devices are all now one item now. A cell phone is a computer, and it is a phone, and it is a radio, and it's everything. We also have watches that are capable of taking pictures and being used as communication devices. So we brought all of those things under one umbrella. Not much change there. A couple changes, though, that are significant. We beefed up the cheating policy a little bit. It is important to note that these devices are now smaller and can be carried a little bit more easily. And so we did reference our cheating policy and are very, very specific about the use of electronic devices. Additionally, the use of electronic devices in areas that they should not be used for recording purposes, such as locker rooms, bathrooms, is specifically addressed. That would be a very severe punishment. There have been cases in the news in other districts, and we want to make sure we avoid that. Third, here's a purple category for just miscellaneous handbook changes. We're allowing students we'd like to allow students to use water bottles in classrooms, provided that teachers are okay with that. Obviously, areas with technology, we would not want to have them out. And we struck any language regarding work permits. That's no longer handled through the school. It's handled by the Regional Office of Education.
Thank you, Dr. Cohen. Motion to approve the changes to the student handbook, please.
So moved.
Second.
Second.
Any discussion, questions? It's very good. Thank you for your hard work.